artist channel. If you're new, welcome. So if you're new and you didn't watch the first video, this channel is pretty much like a storytelling channel where I will be whispering, I guess, stories, whatever genre. The first video was stories I found on the internet, so if you want to watch that, go ahead. But I will also be doing beginning of book readings. Like today I will be reading a book called Crave by Tracy Wolff. Now, this book is so, oh my gosh, I really like it. Like, it's such a good book. And if you don't like vampire romances, I don't recommend reading this. But if you wanna, if you wanna see if this is a good book, which I thought it was, like, you guys should stick around. I'll be reading the first couple of chapters, and if you guys are into it, like, I recommend you go buy it at your library, or sorry, not buy it at your library, buy it at your bookstore, or check it out at your library. I obviously can't read the whole book because, one, it would take so much time, and two, I'm taking like money away from the author, which is kind of rude, so we're not gonna do that. Okay, I'm just gonna read the beginning, and if you guys like it, leave a thumbs up, and if you guys like these videos, let me know. If you guys don't like them, also let me know. And if you guys have any stories that you would like me to read that happened to you or your friend, or funny stories or whatever, please send them to me so that I can read them. Alright, so let's get started. For my boys who have always believed in me, and for Stephanie, who helped me believe in myself again. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. I stand at the outer tarmac door, staring at the plane I am about to get on, and try my hardest not to freak out. It's easier said than done. Not just because I am about to leave behind everything I know, though up until 2 minutes ago, that was my main concern. Now, though, as I stare at this plane that I'm not even sure deserves the dignity of being called a plane, a whole new level of panic is setting in. So, Grace, the man my Uncle Finn sent to pick me up, looks down at me with a patient smile. Philip, I think he said his name was, but I can't be sure. It's hard to hear him over the wind while beating of my heart. Are you ready for an adventure? No, I am not the least bit ready for an adventure or anything else that's about to come my way. If you had told me a month ago that I would be standing on the outskirts of an airport in Fairbanks, Alaska, I would have said that you were misinformed. And if you had told me that the whole reason I was in Fairbanks was to catch the tiniest puddle jumper in existence, to what feels like the very edge of the world, or in this case, a town on the edge of Denali, the highest mountain in North America, I would have said that you were high as a freaking kite. But a lot can change in 30 days, and even more can get ripped away. In fact, the only thing I have been able to count on these past few weeks they can always get worse. Landing is just throwing yourself at the ground and hoping you don't miss. There she is, Philip says as we clear the peaks of several mountains, taking one hand off the steering column to point to a small collection of buildings in the distance. Healy, Alaska. Home, sweet home. Oh, wow. It looks tiny. It looks really, really tiny. Way smaller than just my neighborhood in San Diego, let alone the whole city. Then again, it's pretty hard to see much of anything from up here. Not because of the mountains that loom over the area like long forgotten monsters, but because we're in the middle of a weird kind of haze that Philip refers to as civil twilight, even though it's barely 5 o'clock. Still, I can see well enough to make out that the so-called town he's pointing at is full of mismatched buildings, randomly grouped together. I finally settle on interesting. It looks interesting. It's not the first description that popped into my head. No, that was the old cliche that I was actually frozen over. But it is the most polite one as Philip drops even lower, preparing for what I'm pretty sure will be yet another harrowing incident in the list of harrowing incidents that have plagued me since I got on the first of 3 planes 10 hours ago. Sure enough, I've only just spotted what passes for an airport in this 1,000-person town. Thank you, Google. When Philip says, hang on, Grace, it's a short runway because it's hard to keep along when clear of snow or ice for any amount of time out here. It's going to be a quick landing. I have no idea what a quick landing means, but it doesn't sound good. So I grab the bar on the plane door, which I'm pretty sure exists for just this very reason, and hold on tight as we drop lower and lower. Okay, kid, here goes nothing, Philip tells me, which, by the way, definitely makes the top 5 things you don't ever want to hear your pilot say while you are still in the air. The ground looms white and unyielding below us, and I squeeze my eyes shut. Seconds later, I feel the wheels skip across the ground. Then Philip hits the brakes hard enough to slam me forward so fast that my seatbelt is the only thing keeping my head from meeting the control panel. The plane whines, not sure what part of it is making that horrendous noise, or if it's a collective death knell, so I choose not to focus on it, especially when we start skidding to the left. I bite my lip, keep my eyes squeezed firmly shut even as my heart threatens to burst out of my chest. If this is the end, I don't need to see it coming. That thought distracts me, has me wondering just what my mom and dad might have seen coming. And by the time I shift down that line of thinking, Philip has a plane sliding to a shaky, shuddering halt. I know exactly how it feels. Right now, even my toes are trembling. I peel open my eyes slowly, resisting the urge to put myself down to make sure I really am still in one piece. But Philip just laughs and says, textbook landing. Maybe if that textbook is a horror novel, one he's reading upside down and backward. I don't say anything though, just give him the best smile I can manage and grab my backpack from under my feet. I pull out the pair of gloves Uncle Finn sent me and put them on. Then I push open the plane door and jump down, praying the whole time that my knees will support me when I hit the ground. They do, just barely. After taking a few seconds to make sure I'm not going to crumble, and to pull my brand new coat more tightly around me because it's literally about 8 degrees out here, I head to the back of the plane to get the 3 suitcases. They're all that is left of my life. being looking at them, but I don't let myself dwell on everything I had to leave behind, any more than I let myself dwell on the idea of strangers living in the house I grew up in. After all, who cares about a house, or art supplies, or a drum kit when I've lost so much more? Instead, I grab a bag out of what passes for the tiny airplane's cargo hold and wrestle it to the ground. Before I can reach for the second, Philip is there lifting my other 2 suitcases like they're filled with pillows instead of everything I own in the world. Come on, Grace. Let's go before you start to turn blue out here. He nods towards the parking lot. Not even a building, just a parking lot. About 200 yards away, and I want to grow. It's so cold out that now I'm shaking for a whole different reason. How can anyone live like this? It's unreal, especially considering it was 70 degrees when I woke up this morning. There's nothing to do but nod though, so I do. Then grab onto the handle of my suitcase and start dragging it toward a small patch of concrete that I'm pretty sure passes for an airport in Healy. It's a far cry from San Diego's bustling terminals. Philip overtakes me easily, a large suitcase dangling from each hand. I start to tell him that he can pull the handles out and roll them, but the second I step off the runway and onto the snowy ground that surrounds it in all directions, I figure out why he's carrying them. It's pretty much impossible to roll a heavy suitcase over snow. I'm near frozen by the time we make it halfway to the thankfully still plowed parking lot, despite my heavy jacket and synthetic fur-lined gloves. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do from here, how I'm supposed to get to the boarding school my uncle is headmaster of, so I turn to ask Philip if Uber is even a thing up here. But before I can get a word out, someone steps from behind one of the pickup trucks in the lot and rushes straight toward me. I think it's my cousin, Macy, but it's hard to tell considering she's covered from head to toe in protective weather gear. You're here, the moving pile of hats, scarves, and jackets says. And I was right, it's definitely Macy. I'm here, I agree dryly, wondering if it's too late to reconsider foster care or emancipation. Any living situation in San Diego has got to be better than living in a town whose airports consist of one runway and a tiny parking lot. Heather is going to die when I text her. Finally, Macy says, reaching out for a hug. It's a little awkward, partly because of all the clothes she's wearing and partly because, despite being a year younger than my own 17 years, she's about 8 inches taller than I am. I've been waiting for more than an hour. I hug her back but let go quickly as I answer. Sorry, my plane was late from Seattle. The storm there made it hard to take off. Yeah, we hear that a lot, she tells me with a grimace. Pretty sure their weather is even worse than ours. I want to argue. Miles of snow and enough protective gear to give astronauts pause seem pretty freaking awful to me. But I don't know Macy all that well, despite the fact that we're cousins, and the last thing I want to do is offend her. Besides Uncle Phil and now Philip, she's the only other person I know in this place. Not to mention the only family I have left. Which is why, in the end, I just shrug. It must be a good enough answer though, because she grins back at me before turning to Philip, who is still carrying my suitcases. Thanks so much for picking her up, Uncle Philip, Dad says, to tell you he owes you a case of beer. No worries, Mace. I had to run a few errands in Fairbanks anyway. He says it so casually. Like hopping in a plane for a couple 100-mile round-trip journey is no big deal. Then again, out here when there's nothing but mountains and snow in all directions, maybe it's not. After all, according to Wikipedia, Healy has only one major road in and out of it, and in the winter sometimes even that gets closed down. I spent the last month trying to imagine what that looks like, what it is like. I guess I'm about to find out. Still, he says he'll be around for Friday with that beer, so you guys can watch the game in true romance style. She turns to me. My dad's really upset he couldn't make it out to pick you up, Grace. There was an emergency at the school that no one else could deal with, but he told me to get him the second we make it back. No worries, I tell her, because what else am I supposed to say? Besides, if I've learned anything in the month since my parents died, it's just how little most things matter. Who cares who picks me up as long as I get to the school? Who cares where I live if it's not going to be with my mom and dad? Philip walks us to the edge of the cleared parking lot before finally letting go of my suitcases. Maisie gives him a quick hug goodbye, and I shake his hand, murmur thanks for coming to get me. Not a problem at all. Anytime you need a flight, I'm your man. He winks, then heads back to the tarmac to deal with his plane. We watch him go for a couple of seconds before Maisie grabs the handles on both suitcases and starts rolling them across the tiny parking lot. She gestures for me to do the same with the one I'm holding onto, so I do, even though part of me wants nothing more than to run back onto the tarmac with Philip, climb back into that tiny plane and demand to be flown back to Fairbanks, or, even better, back home to San Diego. It's a feeling that only gets worse when Maisie says, "Do you need a pee? It's a good 90-minute ride to the school from here." 90 minutes? That doesn't seem possible when the whole town looks like we could drive in 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most. Then again, when we were flying over, I didn't see any building remotely big enough to be a boarding school for close to 400 teenagers, so maybe the school isn't actually in Healy. I can't help but think of the mountains and rivers that surround this town in all directions. I wonder where on earth I'm going to end up before this day is through, and where exactly she expects me to be out here anyway. I'm okay, I answer after a minute, even as my stomach somersaults and pitches nervously. This whole day has been about getting here, and that was bad enough. But as we roll my suitcases through the semi-darkness, that, well, below freezing air slapping at me with each step we take, everything gets super real and super fast. Especially when Maisie walks through the entire parking lot to the snowmobile parked just beyond the edge of the pavement. At first, I think she's joking around, but then she starts loading my suitcases onto the attached sled, and it occurs to me that this is really happening. I'm really about to ride a snowmobile in the near term through Alaska in weather that is more than 20 degrees below freezing. If the app on my phone can be believed. All that's missing is the wicked witch cackling that she's going to get me and my little dog too. Then again, at this point, that would probably be redundant. I watch with a kind of horrified fascination as Maisie straps my suitcases to the sled. I should probably offer to help, but I wouldn't even know where to begin. And since the last thing I want is for the few belongings I have left in the world to be strewn across the side of a mountain, I figured if there was ever time to leave things to the experts, this is it. Here, you're going to need these, Maisie tells me, opening up the small bag that was already strapped to the side when we got here. She rummages around for a second before pulling out a pair of heavy snow pants and a thick wool scarf. They're both hot pink, my favorite color when I was a kid, but not so much now. Still, it's obvious Maisie remembered that from the last time I saw her, and I can't help being touched as she holds them out to me. Thanks, I give her the closest thing to a smile I can manage. After a few false starts, I managed to pull the pants on over the thermal underwear and fleece pajama pants with emojis on them, the only kind of fleece pants I owned, that I put on my uncle's instruction before boarding the plane in Seattle. Then I take a long look at the way Maisie's rainbow-colored scarf is wrapped around her neck and waist, and do the same thing with mine. It's harder than it looks, especially trying to get it positioned well enough to keep it from sliding down my nose the second I move. Eventually, I manage it though, and that's when Maisie reaches for one of the helmets draped over she can't help herself, but that she'll keep them from watering and make you more comfortable. Oh, right. I duck my head as my cheeks heat up. I'm an idiot. No, you're not. Maisie wraps an arm around my shoulders and squeezes tight. Alaska, it's a lot. Everyone who comes here has a learning curve. You'll figure it all out soon enough. I'm not holding my breath on that one. I can't imagine that this cold foreign place will ever feel familiar to me, but I don't say anything. Not when Maisie has already done so much to try and make me feel welcome. I'm really sorry you had to come here, Grace, she continues after a second. I mean, I'm really excited that you're here. I just wish it wasn't because... Her voice drifts off before she finishes the sentence, but I'm used to that by now. After weeks of having my friends and teachers tiptoe around me, I've learned that no one wants to say the words. Still, I'm too exhausted to fill in the blanks. Instead, I slip my head in the helmet and secure it the way Maisie showed me. Ready? She asks, once I've got my face and head as protected as they're going to get. The answer hasn't changed since Philip asked me that same question in Fairbanks. Not even close. Yeah, absolutely. I wait for Maisie to climb on the snowmobile before getting on behind her. Hold on to my waist, she shouts as she turns it on. So I do. Seconds later, we're speeding into the darkness that stretches endlessly in front of us. I've never been more terrified in my life. Just because you live in a tower doesn't make you a prince. The ride isn't as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, it's not good, but that has more to do with the fact that I've been traveling all day, and I just want to get someplace, any place, where I can stay longer than a layover, or a really long snowmobile ride. And if that place also happens to be warm and devoid of the local wildlife I can hear howling in the distance, then I'm all about it, especially since everything south of my waist seems to have fallen asleep. I'm in the middle of trying to figure out how to wake up my very numb butt when we suddenly veer off the trail, and I mean trail in the loosest sense of the word. We've been following and onto a kind of plateau on the side of the mountain. It's as we wind our way through yet another copse of trees that I finally see lights up ahead. Is that Cadmere Academy? I shout. Yeah, Maisie lays off the speed a little, steering around trees like we're on a giant slalom course. We should be there in about 5 minutes. Thank God, much longer out here and I might actually lose a toe or 3, even with my doubled up wool socks. I mean, everyone knows Alaska is cold, but can I just say it's freaking cold, and I was not prepared. Yet another war sounds in the distance, but as we finally clear the thicket of trees, it's hard to pay attention to anything but the huge building looming in front of us, growing closer with every second that passes. Or should I say the huge castle looming in front of us, because the dwelling I'm looking at is nothing like a modern building, and absolutely nothing like any school I have ever seen. I tried to Google it before I got here, but apparently Cadmere Academy is so elite, even Google hasn't heard of it. First of all, it's big, like really big, and sprawling. From here, it looks like the brick wall in front of the castle stretches halfway around the mountain. Second, it's elegant, like really, really elegant, with architecture I've only heard described in my art classes before. Vaulted arcs, flying buttresses, and giant ornate windows dominate the structure. And third, as we get closer, I can't help wondering if my eyes are deceiving me, or if there are gargoyles, actual gargoyles, protruding from the top of the castle walls. I know it's just my imagination, but I'd be lying if I said I did not expect to see Quasimodo waiting for us when we finally get there. Maisie pulled up to the huge gate at the front of the school and enters a code. Seconds later, the gate swings open and we're on our way again. The closer we get, the more surreal everything feels, like I'm trapped in a horror movie or a Salvador Dali painting. Cadmere other prep school driveway I've ever seen on TV, except for the fact that it's covered in snow. Big shock, and leads right up to the school's huge, incredibly ornate front doors. Antique doors. Castle doors. I shake my head to clear it. I mean, what even is my life right now? I told you it wouldn't be bad, Macy says as she pulls up to the front with a spray of snow. We didn't even see a caribou, let alone a wolf. She's right, so I just nod and pretend I'm not completely overwhelmed. Pretend like my stomach isn't tied into knots and my whole world hasn't turned upside down for the second time in a month. Pretend like I'm okay. Let's bring your suitcases up to your room and get you unpacked. It'll help you relax. Macy climbs off the snowmobile, then takes off her helmet and her hat. It's the first time I've seen her without all the cold weather gear, and I can't help smiling at her rainbow-colored hair. It's cut in a short, choppy style that should be smushed and plastered to her head after 3 hours in a helmet, but instead it looks like she just walked out of the salon. Which matches with the rest of her, now that I think about it, considering her whole coordinating jacket, boots, and snow pants kind of shouts. Cover model for some Alaskan wilderness fashion magazine. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure my look says I've gone a couple of rounds with a pissed off caribou and lost badly, which seems fair since that's about how I feel. Macy makes quick work of unloading my suitcases, and this time I grab 2 of them, but I only make it a few steps up the very long walk to the castle's imposing front doors before I'm struggling to breathe. It's the altitude, Macy says as she takes one of the suitcases out of my hand. We climbed pretty fast, and since you're coming from sea level, it's going to take a few days for you to get used to how thin the air is up here. Just the idea of not being able to breathe sets off the beginnings of the panic attack I've barely kept at bay all day. Closing my eyes, I take a deep breath, or as deep as I can out here, and try to fight it back. In, hold for 5 seconds, out. In, hold for 10 seconds, out. In, hold for 5 seconds, out. Just like Heather's mom taught me, Dr. Blake is a therapist, and she's been giving me tips on how to deal with the anxiety I've been having since my parents died. But I'm not sure tips are up to combating all this any more than I am. Still, I can't stand here frozen forever like one of the gargoyles staring down at me, especially not when I can feel Macy's concern even with my eyes closed. I take one more deep breath and open my eyes again, shooting my cousin a smile I'm far from feeling. Fake it till you make it is still a thing, right? It's going to be okay, she tells me, her own eyes wide with sympathy. Just stand there and catch your breath. I'll carry your suitcases up to the door. I can do it. Seriously, it's okay. Just chill for a minute. She holds up her hand in the universal stop gesture. We're not in any hurry. Her tone begs me not to argue, so I don't. Especially since the panic attack I'm trying to fend off is only making it harder to breathe. Instead, I nod and watch as she carries my suitcases, one at a time, up to the school's front door. As I do, a flash of color way above us catches my eye. It's there and gone so fast that even as I scan for it, I can't be sure it ever really existed to begin with. Except there it is again, a flash of red in the lit window of the tallest tower. I don't know who it is or why they even matter, but I stop where I am, watching, waiting, wondering if whoever it is will make another appearance. It isn't long before they do. I can't see clearly. Distance, darkness, and the distorted glass of the windows cover up a lot, but I get the impression of a strong jaw, shaggy dark hair, a red jacket against a background of light. It's not much, and there's no reason for it to have caught my attention. Certainly no reason for it to have held my attention. And yet I find myself staring up at the window so long that Maisie has all 3 of my suitcases at the top of the stairs before I even realize it. Ready to try again, she calls down from her spot near the front doors. Oh, yeah, of course. I start up the last 30 or so steps, ignoring the way my head is spinning. Altitude sickness, one more thing I never had to worry about in San Diego. Fantastic. I glance up at the window one last time, not surprised at all to find that whoever was looking down at me is long gone. Still, an inexplicable shiver of disappointment works its way through me. It makes no sense though, so I shrug it off. I have bigger things to worry about right now. This place is unbelievable. I tell my cousin as she pushes open one of the doors and we walk inside. And, holy crap, I thought the whole castle thing with its pointed archways and elaborate stonework was imposing from the outside. Now that I've seen the inside, I'm pretty sure I should be curtsying right about now. Or at least bowing and scraping. I mean, wow. Just wow. I don't know where to look first. At the high ceiling with its elaborate black crystal chandelier, or the roaring fireplace that dominates the whole right wall of the foyer. In the end, I go with the fireplace because heat, and because it's freaking gorgeous. The mantle around it, an intricate pattern of stone and stained glass that reflects the light of the flames through the whole room. Pretty cool, huh? Macy says with a grin as she comes up behind me. Totally cool, I agree. This place is magic. I know. She wiggles her eyebrows at me. Want to see some more? I really do. I'm still far from sold on the Alaskan boarding school thing, but that doesn't mean I don't want to check out the castle. I mean, it's a castle, complete with stone walls and elaborate tapestries. I can't help but want to stop and look at as we make our way through the entryway into some kind of common room. The only problem is that the deeper we move into the school, the more students we come across. Some are standing around in scattered clumps, talking and laughing, while others are seated at several of the room's scarred wooden tables, leaning over books or phones or laptop screens. In the back corner of one room, sprawled out on several antique-looking couches in varying hues of red and gold, is a group of 6 guys playing Xbox on a huge TV, while a few other students crowd around to watch. Only as we get closer, I realize they weren't watching the video game, or their books, or even their phones. Instead, they're all looking at me as Macy leads, and by leads I mean parades, me through the center of the room. My stomach clenches, and I duck my head to hide my very obvious discomfort. I get that everyone wants to check out the new girl, especially when she's the headmaster's niece, but understanding it doesn't make it any easier to bear the scrutiny from a bunch of strangers, especially since I'm pretty sure I have the worst case of helmet hair ever recorded. I'm too busy avoiding eye contact and regulating my breathing to talk as we make our way through the room, but as we exit into a long, winding hallway, I finally tell Macy, I can't believe you go to school here. We both go to school here, she reminds me with a quick grin. Yeah, but I just got here, and I've never felt more out of place in my life. But, she repeats, eyebrows arched. It's a lot. I have the gorgeous stained glass windows that run along the exterior wall, and the elaborate carved molding that decorates the room ceiling. It is. She slows down until I catch up, but it's home. Your home, I whisper, doing my best not to think of the house I left behind, where my mother's front porch wind chimes and early gigs were the most wild and crazy thing about it. Our home, she answers as she pulls out her phone and sends a quick text. You'll see. Speaking of which, my dad wants me to give you a choice about what kind of room situation you want. Room situation, I repeat, glancing around the castle while images of ghosts and animated suits of armor slide through my head. Well, all the single rooms have been assigned for this term. Dad told me we could move some people around to get you one, but I really hoped you might want to room with me instead. She smiles hopefully for a second, but it quickly fades as she continues. I mean, I totally get that you might need some space yourself right now after. And there's that fade out again. It gets to me, just like it does every time. Usually I ignore it, but this time I can't stop myself from asking. After what? Just this once, I want someone else to say. Maybe then it'll feel more real and less like a nightmare. Except as Maisie gasps and turns to clear the snow outside, I realize it's not going to be her, and that it's unfair of me to expect it to be. I'm sorry, she whispers, and now it almost looks like she's going to cry, which, no, just no. We're not going to go there. Not when the only thing currently holding me together is a snarky attitude and my ability to compartmentalize. No way am I going to risk losing my grip on either. Not here. In front of my cousin and anybody else who might happen to pass by. And not now when it's obvious from all the stairs that I'm totally the newest attraction at the zoo. So instead of melting into Maisie for the hug I so desperately need, instead of letting myself think about how much I miss home and my parents and my life, I pull back and give her the best meal I can manage. Why don't you show me to our room? The concern in her eyes doesn't diminish, but the sunshine definitely makes another appearance. Our room? Really? I sigh deep inside and kiss my dream of a little peaceful solitude goodbye. It's not as hard as it should be, but then I've lost a lot more in the last month than my own space. Really? Rooming with you sounds perfect. I've already upset her once, which is so not my style. Either is getting someone kicked out of their room. Besides being rude and smacking of nepotism, it also seems like a surefire way to piss people off. Something that is definitely not on my to-do list right now. Awesome. Maisie grins and throws her arms around me for a fast but powerful hug. Then she glances at her phone with a roll of her eyes. Dad still hasn't answered my text. He's the worst about checking his phone. Why don't you hang out here and I'll go get him? I know he wanted to see you as soon as we arrived. I can come with you. Please, just sit, Grace. She points at the ornate French provincial-style chairs that flank a small chess table in an alcove to the right of the staircase. I'm sure you're exhausted, and I've got this, honest. Relax a minute while I get done. Because she's right. My head is aching and my chest still feels tight. I just nod and plop down in the closest chair. I'm beyond tired and want nothing more than to lean my head back against the chair and close my eyes for a minute. But I'm afraid I'll fall asleep if I do. And no way am I running the risk of being the girl caught drooling all over herself in the hallway on her very first day. Or ever, for that matter. More to keep myself from drifting off than out of the actual interest, I pick up one of the chess pieces in front of me. It's made of intricately carved stone, and my eyes widen as I realize what skyscraper cheekbones, full red lips, a jaw so sharp he could cut stone, smooth alabaster skin, and his eyes, a bottomless obsidian that see everything and show nothing, surrounded by the longest, most obscene lashes I've ever seen. And even worse, those all-knowing eyes are laser focused on me right now, and I'm suddenly terrified that he can see all the things I've worked so hard and so long to hide. I try to duck my head, try to yank my gaze from his, but I can't. I'm trapped by his stare, hypnotized by the sheer magnetism rolling off him in waves. I swallow hard to catch my breath. It doesn't work. And now he's grinning, one corner of his mouth turning up in a crooked little smile that I feel in every single cell, which only makes it worse because that smirk says he knows exactly what kind of effect he's having on me, and worse, that he's enjoying it. Annoyance flashes through me at the realization, melting the numbness that surrounded me since my parents' deaths. Waking me from a stupor, that's the only thing that's kept me from screaming all day, every day, at the unfairness of it all, at the pain and horror and helplessness that have taken over my whole life. It's not a good feeling, and the fact that it's this guy with the smirk and the face and the cold eyes that refuse to relinquish their hold on me, even as they demand that I don't look too closely, just pisses me off more. It's that anger that finally gives me the strength to break free of his gaze. I rip my eyes away, then search desperately for something else, anything else, to focus on. Unfortunately, he's standing right in front of me, so close that he's blocking my view of anything else. Determined to avoid his eyes, I look anywhere but, and land instead on his long, lean body. Then really wish I hadn't, because the black jeans and t-shirt he's wearing only emphasize his flat stomach and hard, well-defined biceps, not to mention the double wide shoulders that are absolutely responsible for blocking my view in the first place. Add in the thick dark hair that's worn a little too long, so that it falls forward into his face and skims low across his insane cheekbones, and there's nothing to do but give it. Nothing to do but admit that obnoxious smirk or not, this boy is sexy as hell. A little wicked, a lot wild, and all dangerous. What little oxygen I've been able to pull into my lungs in this high altitude completely disappears with the realization, which only makes me madder, because, seriously, when exactly did I become the heroine in some YA romance? The new girl swooning over the hottest, most unattainable boy in school. Gross, and so not happening. Determined to nip whatever this is in the bud, I force myself to look at his face again. This time, as our gazes meet and clash, I realize that it doesn't matter if I'm acting like some giant romantic cliche, because he isn't. One glance, and I know that this stark boy with the closed-off eyes and the fuck you attitude isn't the hero of anyone's story, least of all mine. Vampire queens aren't the only ones with a nasty bite. Determined not to let this staring contest that feels a little like a show of dominance go on any longer, I cast around for something to break the tension and settle on a response to the only thing he's actually said to me so far. Who's got a nasty bite? He reaches past me and picks up the piece I dropped, holds it waiting for me to see. She's really not very nice. I stare at him. She's a chess piece. His obsidian eyes gleam back. Your point? My point is, she's a chess piece. She's made of marble. She can't bite anyone. He inclines his head in a you never know gesture. There are more things in heaven and hell, Odia, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Earth, I correct before I can think better of it. He crooks one midnight black brow in question. So I continue. The quote is, there are more things in heaven and earth, Odia. He said no. His face doesn't change, but there's something mocking in his tone that wasn't there before, like I'm the one who made the mistake, not him. But I know I'm right. My AP English class just finished reading Hamlet last month, and my teacher spent forever on that quote. I think I like my version better, even though it's wrong, especially because it's wrong. I have no idea what I'm supposed to say to that, so I just shake my intriguing. I'm not sure which is worse, and I'm growing less sure by the second that I want to find out. I need to go and force the words past a jaw I didn't even know I'd been clenching. Yeah, you do. He takes a small step back, nods toward the common room he's in. I just walk through. The door's that way. Is not the response I'm expecting, and it throws me off guard. So what? I shouldn't let it hit me on the way out. He shrugs. As long as you leave this school, it doesn't matter to me if it hits you or not. I had warned your uncle you wouldn't be safe here, but he obviously doesn't like you much. Anger flashes through me at his words, burning away the last of the numbness that has plagued me. Who exactly are you supposed to be anyway? Cadmir's very own unwelcome wagon. Unwelcome wagon, he stoned as obnoxious as his face. Believe me, this is the nicest greeting you're going to get here. This is it, huh? I raise my eyebrows, spread my arms out wide. The big welcome to Alaska. More like welcome to hell. Now get the fuck out. The last is said in a snarl that yanks my heart into my throat. But it also slams my temper straight into the stratosphere. Is it that stick up your ass that makes you such a jerk, I demand? Or is this just your regular, charming personality? The words come out fast and furious before I even know what I'm going to say them. But once they're out, I don't regret them. How can I, when shock flits across his face, finally raising that annoying smirk of his? At least for a minute. Then he fires back. I've got to say, if that's the best you've got, I give you about an hour. I know I shouldn't ask, but he looks so smug, I can't help myself. Before what? Before something eats you. He doesn't say it, but the obviously is definitely implied, which only pisses me off more. Seriously, that's what you decided to go with? I roll my eyes. Bite me, dude. Nah, I don't think so. He looks me up and down. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't even make an appetizer. But then he's stepping closer, leaning down until he's all but whispering in my ear. Maybe a quick snack, though. His teeth close with a loud, sharp snap that makes me jump and shiver all at the same time. Which I hate so much. I glance around us, curious if anyone else is witnessing this mess. But where everyone only had eyes for me earlier, they seem to be going out of their way not to glance in my direction now. One lanky boy with thick red hair even keeps his head so awkwardly turned to the side while walking across the room that he almost runs into another student. Which tells me everything I need to know about the sky. Determined to regain control of the situation and myself, I take a big step back, then, ignoring my pounding heart and the pterodactyls flopping around in my stomach, I demand, what is wrong with you? I mean, seriously, he's got the manners of a rabid polar bear. Got a century or three, his smirk is back. He's obviously proud of getting to me. And for a moment, just a moment, I think about how satisfying it would be to punch him right in the center of that annoying mouth of his. You know what? You really don't have to be such a don't tell me what I have to be, knowing you don't have a clue what you wandered into here. Oh no, I do a mock afraid face. Is it the part of the story where you tell me about the big bad monsters out here in the big bad Alaskan wilderness? No, this is the part of the story where I show you the big bad monsters right here in this castle. He steps forward, closing the small distance I've managed to put between us. And there goes my heart again, beating like a caged bird, desperate to escape. I hate it. I hate that he's bested me, and I hate that being this close to him makes me feel a bunch of things I shouldn't for a guy who has been a total jerk to me. I hate even more that the look in his eyes says he knows exactly how I'm feeling. The fact that I'm reacting so strongly to him when all he seems to feel for me is contempt is humiliating. So I take one trembling step back, then I take another and another. But he follows suit, moving one step forward for every step I take backward, until I'm caught between him and the chest table, pressing into the back of my thighs. And even though there's nowhere to go, even though I'm stuck right here in front of him, he leans closer still, gets closer still, until I can feel his warm breath on my cheek and the brush of his silky black hair against my skin. What little breath I've managed to recover, so close that I can feel his breath on my cheek and the warmth radiating from his body. So close that one deep breath will end with my chest pressing against his. The thought sets off a whole new kaleidoscope of butterflies deep inside me. I can't move back any further, but I can lean back over the table a little, which I do, while those dark, fathomless eyes of his watch my every move. Silence stretches between us for 1, 10, 25 seconds before he finally asks, "So if you aren't afraid of things that go bump in the night, what are you afraid of?" Images of my parents' mangled car flashed through my brain, followed by pictures of their battered bodies. I was the only family they had in San Diego, or anywhere really except for Vin and Macy, so I'm the one who had to go to the morgue. I'm the one who had to identify their bodies, who had to see them all bruised and bloody and broken before the funeral home had a chance to put them back together again. The familiar anguish wells up inside me, but I do what I've been doing for weeks now. I shove it back down. Pretend it doesn't exist. Not much, I tell him as flippantly as I can manage. There's not much to be afraid of when you've already lost everything that matters. He freezes at my words, his whole body tensing up so much that it feels like he might shatter. Even his eyes change, the wildness disappearing between one blink and the next, until only stillness remains. Stillness and an agony so deep I can barely see it beyond layers and layers of defenses he's erected. But I can see it, or I can feel it calling to my own pain. It's an awful and awe-inspiring feeling at the same time. So awful I can barely stand it. So awe-inspiring that I can't stop it, so I don't, and neither does he. Instead, we stand there, frozen, devastated, connected in a way I can feel but can't comprehend by our very separate horrors. I don't know how long we stay like that, staring into each other's eyes, acknowledging each other's pain because we can't acknowledge our own. Long enough for the animosity to drain right out of me. Long enough for me to see the silver flecks in the midnight of his eyes, distant stars shining through the darkness he makes no attempt to hide. More than long enough for me to get my rampaging heart under control, at least until he reaches out and gently takes hold of one of my million curls. And just that easily, I forget how to breathe again. He slams through me as he stretches out the curl, warming me up for the first time since I opened the door of Philip's plane in Healy. It's confusing and overwhelming, and I don't have a clue what to do about it. 5 minutes ago, this guy was being a total douche to me. And now I don't know anything except that I need space and a sleep and a chance to just breathe for a few minutes. With that in mind, I bring my hand up and push at his shoulders in an effort to get him to give me a little room. But it's like pushing a wall of granite. He doesn't budge. At least not until I whisper, "Please." He waits a second longer, maybe 2 or 3, until my head is muddled and my hands are shaking, before he finally takes a step back and lets the girl go. As he does, he sweeps a hand through his dark hair, his longish bangs part just enough to reveal a jagged scar from the center of his left eyebrow to the left corner of his mouth. It's thin and white, barely noticeable against the paleness of his skin, but it's there nonetheless, especially if you look at the wicked V it causes at the end of his dark eyebrow. It should make him less attractive, should do something, anything, to negate the incredible power of his looks, but somehow the scar only emphasizes the danger, turning him from just another pretty boy with angelic looks into someone a million times more compelling. A fallen angel with a bad boy vibe for miles, and a million stories to back that vibe up. Combined with the anguish I just felt inside him, it makes him more human, more relatable, and more devastating, despite the darkness that rolls off him in waves. A scar like this only comes from an unimaginable injury. Hundreds of stitches, multiple operations, months, maybe even years of recovery. I hate that he suffered like that. Wouldn't wish it excites me all at the same time. He knows I noticed the scar. I can see it in the way his eyes narrow, in the way his shoulders stiffen and his hands clench into fists, in the way he tucks his head so that his hair falls over his cheek again. I hate that. He thinks he has to hide something that he should wear as a badge of honor. It takes a lot of strength to get through something like this, a lot of strength to come out the other side of it, and he should be proud of that strength, not ashamed of the mark it's left. I reach out before I make a conscious decision to do so, cup his scarred cheek in my hand. His dark eyes blaze, and I think he's going to shove me away, but in the end, he doesn't. He just stands there and lets me stroke my thumb back and forth across his cheek, across his scar, for several long moments. I'm sorry, I whisper, when I can finally get my voice past that painful lump of sympathy in my throat. This must have hurt horribly. He doesn't answer. Instead, he closes his eyes, sinks into my palm, takes one long, shuddering breath. Then he's pulling back, stepping away, putting real distance between us for the first time since he snuck up behind me, which suddenly feels like a lifetime ago. I don't understand you, he tells me suddenly, his black magic voice so quiet that I have to strain to hear it. There are more things in heaven and hell, Rhea, than are dreamt of in your philosophy, I answer, deliberately using his earlier misquote. He shakes his head as if trying to clear it, takes a deep breath, then blows it out slowly. If you won't leave, I can't leave, I interject. I have nowhere else to go. My parents are dead, I know. He smiles grimly. Fine. If you're not going to leave, then you need to listen to me very, very carefully. Would you keep your head down? Don't look too closely at anyone or anything. He leans forward, his voice dropping to a low rumble as he finishes. And always, always watch your back. Okay, everybody, so that was the first, 3 chapters. Maybe I'm just a slow reader, but wow, I feel like that took so long. If you guys like this, be sure to leave a thumbs up or comment that you liked it, and I might do the next 3 or 4 chapters. If you guys like the book and want to read it yourselves, go ahead and buy it. It's a really good book. I really recommend it, like I said before. And thank you for watching this video. I'll see you guys